Social media really is, I believe, one of the main drivers for why so many people nowadays are insecure. And a lot of the reason why a lot of Gen Z and millennial Americans feel a lot of unnecessary stress. There are obviously things you should be stressed about, but this superficial stress that is just a bunch of nonsense is really caused by the social media. So what I want to start with this video is I have a friend of mine who actually had a fairly big following on Instagram, and he was a strength coach by profession. He would market his business on there. He would take videos from clients, critique their lifts, and that was his primary source of income. Now, sporadically out of nowhere, his Instagram account got banned. And I talked to him a couple months after to see how he's doing, to check in on him. What I found so interesting was I would have thought he would have been down, losing those many thousands of followers, losing his primary way to promote his business. But what he told me was very different. It was that he's never been in such a better place mentally than since he got off the social media. Mind you, it wasn't voluntary when he got off. He had told me mentally he was in such a better place with those 2 or so months off of Instagram. And I found it so interesting. And when you look around now, especially a lot of people in their 20s, I will say, between the ages of 18 and 25, and you can even argue 35, 40, Gen Z and millennial Americans, you see a very big rampancy increase in depression and anxiety. I have a friend of mine who actually worked at a Bartell's, and what he told me was that most of the people going in there were younger people between the ages of even 18 and 22, going in there for antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, which is so bizarre to me. You'd think that in a time now where we are so much more advanced technologically with the spread of information, you'd have less people depressed. You'd have less people, or you'd have more people who know how to deal with these kind of things. But it's been the complete opposite. I've heard some people argue that human nature is by default bad, and the other side of the argument is that social media is I guess open the floodgates for it. But I'll tell you what, when I was younger, social media, it was a thing. I'm not going to try to act like it was never a thing. When I was in middle school, you had Facebook and MySpace. But the difference is those were primarily used by people, adults, to keep in contact with their close friends and family. Not for this widespread promotion and the reels all over the place, the stories all over the place. Here's a picture of me in the concert. Here's a picture of me in the nightclub. Here's a picture of me with this car crash behind me. It wasn't at all like that. So it seems like there's been such a big increase in misuse of social media. This widespread narcissism you see nowadays. Because when I was younger, I was quite insecure, more insecure than I should have been, as many people between the ages of 18 and 22 would have been. But a big part of that was I was looking at the social media stuff and be like, oh, wow, this person has so-and-so Instagram followers. This person has so-and-so people liking their reels. Why don't I have that? These people showing themselves their highlights, their ups, but never their downs in life, make people feel like they're out of place, because if they're going through something, they're sitting in their office, they're working towards building themselves, and they're not there. They don't see the journey. They only see the end result on these websites, these apps, these social media. It's a big problem. People are very pretentious on there. And what I came to realize later on was to ask yourself this. If these people were so happy, if these people were so well off, would they really need the approval and validation from completely random strangers? Random strangers over the internet who you're really not going to have much at all connection with, or people you might not even meet in real life a lot of the time. That to me sounds like someone who's very narcissistic. That to me sounds like someone who's very insecure. Someone who is at peace with themselves, and they would not do stuff like that. That makes me think they're miserable behind closed doors, but trying to put on a facade of this kind of social media, whatever the right word is, persona, whatever people want to call it. And with the stress too, a lot of young people in America are very stressed, which there's things like the economy, there's things like the price of housing. But a big part of it too is people feeling out of place, people feeling lost, people feeling like they don't belong, like they aren't good enough. Like they have to be compared to some standard that they see on the internet, that they see on Instagram or TikTok. I've been out and about lately, and over the past couple months, I've been seeing more girls now with BBLs. That's something I never used to see before until recently. Yeah, you had the chest done stuff. That's been around forever. You had maybe lip fillers at the most, but never seeing these BBLs and stuff like that. Even the other day, I was at a restaurant with a friend of mine and seeing a girl who was young, probably no older than 19 or 20, with a BBL. Very obvious. And it just makes me think how people are so uncomfortable in their own bodies. Now, this is besides the point for sake of argument. I myself would find it much more attractive for a girl to just have natural beauty. Even if she has not much curvature at all, I always find it more attractive for someone to be confident in their natural born self, God-made way, who they are. But that's besides the point. But I've been seeing a lot more of that. I've been seeing a lot more of the people trying to live up to some standard. Even with the Gen Z stuff, with the stress, feeling you like you need to be a certain way. I've seen this more recently, probably because Gen Z are nearing the age now of 25 to 30, but about Gen Z Americans aging faster than their predecessors, than the previous generations. Now, I'll be the first one on here to say, me, myself, like, I've been losing my hair over the past few years. I use minoxidil, which helps. But every now and then I'll notice a couple of gray hairs. I'm like, where is this coming from? My father's generation, he didn't get any gray hairs until he was around the age of 60. I see a lot of people right now who are in their late 20s, early 30s who have gray hairs, a premature balding, all different kinds of stuff. There's clearly something going on. Of course, I've heard people talk about the increase in added sugar. I've heard other stuff, but a big part of that is the stress. I truly believe that stress is, stress is the number one factor when it comes to aging faster, when it comes to stuff like that, speeding up that process, if you want to call it. But look, I don't want to just get on here and talk about how bad social media is and all this. What I really want to say is this too. There are two sides to this as well. There's also the side where it can be used as a powerful tool. I myself have a friend of mine who is in another country, half the world away. And I primarily talk to him through Instagram DM. Obviously over cellular, to make a call or text, it would cost a heck of a lot of money. Whereas over Instagram, I can do it for free. There's also WhatsApp and other stuff. But there's ways where it's useful in that manner to talk to people who you can't normally talk to. I mean, me, myself, I'll be honest, guys. I'm DMing people over Instagram more than I'm texting. That kind of shows how the times have changed. But what's been a problem now is what it's become. I see so many reels of just the most bizarre, narcissistic stuff from people who, a lot of the time, probably buy their followers anyway. Of just going in the middle of like a crowded intersection and having someone record them when people are just trying to get out of their way and just go about their daily lives. How narcissistic is that? To try to act like you're the center of the universe, like everything revolves around you. People want to go viral so bad which we've all heard this argument, but let's be honest, it's the truth. You could have someone be injured, seriously injured, and get knocked out in a fight or a car accident or something lit on fire, and people are going to pull out the phones and record because they're so desperate to want to go viral. What does that mean, going viral? Getting validation, attention from complete strangers? That's just narcissistic. That's not something someone who has peace of mind would do. Not at all. So, just with these apps, guys, I think that we should all make a challenge to ourselves to take more time away from them. Stop with the doom scrolling. Brain rot, whatever people want to call it, but just these useless facts and stuff, messing with our attention spans, messing with our memory, messing with stuff we should really be focusing on remembering, not some useless fact about so-and-so. And stop treating these people like they're celebrities too. I really don't understand that. I know people too, just people I've known in my life, not people I associate with now, but you can tell they're trying to be something they're not. They'd go on these social media, because I used to be into bodybuilding. I would go to the gyms a lot more. I still work out every now and then. But they would post a lot over Instagram, stories all the time, reels, buying their followers, buying thousands of followers. And it's like, this is bizarre. How does this person have 8,000 followers, but their post only got 20 likes? Right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But my point being is wanting so bad to be something they're not. When people need to be comfortable with who they are,